He asked one too many questions and found a $20 million secret that should have stayed buried since 1929. The Curious Ledger. Chicago 2025. The wind of Lake Michigan smelled like diesel and old blood. Rico the fox. Malone stood up on the rooftop of a directly meatpacking plant in the stocky yards, collar up against the cold, watching the city lights smear across the black water. He was 32, lean as a switchblade, with a face that looked like it had been carved by someone who changed their mind halfway. His crew called him the Fox because he asked too many questions. Most gangsters learned early that curiosity got you killed. Rico never learned. Below him, two of his gun were zip tying a snitch named Tommy Two-Tone Ruiz to a rusted forklift. Tommy had been skimming from the protection money on the West Side's routes. Rico did not care about the money. He cared about the life. Lies were sloppy. Sloppy got everyone dead. Last chance, Tommy, Rico said, voice low, almost friendly. Where would the extra 10 grand go? Tommy's split lip quivered. I told you, man, I paid it to the detective, the one with the scar. He said he would look the other way on the shipment. Rico crouched, elbow on the knees, and titled his head like a dog hearing a new sound. Detective with a scar? Interesting. What's his name? Tommy blinked. Most guys begged or cursed. Nobody asked follow-ups while holding the zip ties. Detective Harlan. Frank Harlan. Rico smiled the small private smile that made his crew nervous. He stood up, brushed dust off his black wool coat, and nodded to Big Lou, who was built like a refrigerator with a grudge. Cut him loose, Rico said. Leo started. Boss, he is telling the truth. I can smell it. Besides, I want to meet this Harlan. Rico looked back at Tommy. You owe me the 10 plus interest. Work it off on the trucks. One lie and I feed you to the lake. Understood? Tommy nodded so hard his neck cracked. Rico walked away without looking back. Curiosity itched under his skin like a fresh tattoo. A dirty cop who took 10 grand to ignore a heroin shipment. That was not standard. That was a thread. Rico loved threads. 2 nights later, Rico sat in the back booth of the Velvet Shadow, a speakeasy themed bar in Lincoln Park that his crew run as a legitimate front. Velvet curtains, jazz on vinyl, and a bartender who knew how to keep his mouth shut. Rico nursed a rye whiskey and flipped through a small leather ledger he would taken from Tommy's glove box during the zip tie party. The pages were yellowed, the handwriting spidery and old. The first entry was dated July 14, 1927, received from Alphonse Coppens, $47,000 for the south side stills, paid to Officer J. Harlan for protection, balance carried forward. Rico's thumb paused. Harlan? Same last name. Coincidence? In Chicago, coincidences were usually bullets with your name on them. He turned pages. The ledger tracked payoffs, shipments, bodies, every entry signed with a tiny fox head doodle in the margin. Rico's stomach did a slow flip. His own nickname was not new. Someone in 1927 had used the same mark. The last entry, dated October 29, 1929, the day the market crashed, was different. Final deposit $1.2 million in gold certificates, hidden at the old stockyards cold room number 7. For the Fox only. Do not open until the moon blood rises again. The key is the curiosity. Rico closed the book. His pulse was loud in his ears. $1.2 million in 1929 money was north of 20 million today, and it has been sitting in a meat locker for almost a century. He finished the whiskey, left 100 on the table, and walked out into the night. The itch had become a burn. The next morning, Rico stood inside cold room number 7. The place was a ruin, concrete floors cracked. hooks dangling from the ceiling like metal bones. His crew had cleared the building an hour earlier, paying off the night watchman with a bottle of top shelf and a promise. Rico carried a crowbar and a flashlight. Leo waited outside with a shotgun, grumbling about ghosts. Rico found the spot where the ledger said the cache would be, behind a false wall of cinder blocks at the far end. He peered one loose, dust exploded. Behind it was a rusted steel door with a combination lock. No numbers, just a small brass plate etched with a frog's headed symbol and the words, Curiosity opens all doors. Riku laughed once, sharp. He spun the dial at random, left, right, left, until something clicked. The door swung open on silent hinges. Inside, a single leather satchel, surprisingly clean. He opened it. Stacks of gold certificates, still crisp. Bundles of $100 bills with the old design, and at the bottom a smaller envelope sealed with red wax. Inside was a single photograph and a note in the same spidery hand. The photo showed a young man in the pinstripe suit, standing next to a Model T. The man had Riku's face, same sharp jaws, same half smile on the back. Elias Malone, 1927, the first fox. The note read, If you are reading this, blood calls to blood. The money is yours, but the real prize is the truth. Harlan never stopped hunting us. Finished what I started. Riku's hand shook. He had no family history beyond a grandmother who said his grandfather ran with dangerous men. Now he knew the blood in his veins was gangster's blood from the beginning. He closed the satchel and stepped back. That was when he heard the click of a hammer behind him. Nice point, Fox. Riku turned slow. Detective Frank Harlan stood in the doorway, scar running from ear to chin like a lightning bolt. 45, hard eyes, service pistol steady. Two uniform flanked him, but they looked nervous. Harlan did not. You are being busy, Harlan said. Tommy talked, then he disappeared. Funny how that happens around you. Rico kept his hands visible. You knew about the ledger. I have been looking for it since my grandfather died. He was the cop on Capone's payroll. Double-crossed your great-grandfather Elias in 29. Shot him in this very room. Took the key, but never found the combo. The old man left me the scar and the grudge. Harlan's smile was thin. I figured if the ledger ever surfaced, I would, because some dumb Malone could not keep his nose out. Rico felt the pieces slot together like a lock. So you have been waiting, skimming my crew, waiting for me to lead you here? Smart boy, drop the satchel. Rico did not move. There is 20 million in here. Enough for both of us to walk away rich. Harlan laughed. I did not want money. I want the Malone line ended. Your great-grandfather ruined my grandfather. My old man drank himself dead because of the shame. I am ending the cycle. One of the uniforms shifted. Riku saw the kid's finger twitch on the trigger. Amateur's. Riku sighed like he was bored. Curiosity killed the cat, detective, but satisfaction brought him back. He dropped the satchel. As Harlan's eye followed it, Riku drove left, shoulder rolling behind a rusted conveyor. Gunfire erupted. Bullets pinged off metal. Riku came up with a pistol he would taped to the small of his back that morning, always prepared for the questions to get loud. He fired twice. One uniform went down screaming, clutching his thigh. The other bolted. Harlan was faster than he looked. He put 3 rounds into the conveyor, forcing Riku deeper into the shadows. Leo! Riku shouted. Outside, Big Leo answered with a shotgun. Boom! Taking out the second uniform as he ran, Harlan cursed and retreated behind a stalk of pallets. You think this ends clean, Malone? I have got backup rolling in. Whole department owes me favors. Rico crawled along the wall, heart hammering but mind clear. The ledger had mentioned a second exit, an old drainage tunnel under the cold room. Elias had planned for everything. Rico found the grate, freed it up, Cold, wet air rushed up. Harlan, he called. Last chance, walk away. Take half the cash, or we both curious. Harlan laughed, echoed. I am not leaving without your head. Rico dropped into the tunnel, water up to his ankles. He ran, satchel banging against his hip. Behind him, Harlan splashed in the pursuit. The tunnel ended at an old sewer junction under 43rd Street. Rico kicked up open a manhole cover and climbed out into an alley behind a taqueria. Morning traffic hammered. He looked back. Harlan was 20 yards behind, gun up, wet and furious. Riku raised his hands like he was surrendering. Harlan stepped closer. That was when the back's SUV screeched around the corner, Leo at the wheel. The passenger window rolled down. Rico's cousin Sal, 19, trigger happy and loyal, leaned out with a Mac 10. Harlan got off one shot. It grazed Rico's shoulder like fire. Then Sal opened up. Harlan danced backward, chest blooming red, and fell into the open manhole. The splash was final. Rico climbed into the SUV. Blood soaked his coat. Leo handed it toward the expressway. You good, boss? Sal asked, eyes wide. Rico pressed hands to his shoulder and laughed, low and shaky, better than good. We are rich and we have got history. They ditched the SUV in an underground garage Rico kept for emergency, switched to a plain white panel van and drove north toward Wisconsin. Rico wanted distance while he thought. The satchel sat between his feet like a sleeping tiger. That night they holed up in a lakeside cabin that belonged to one of Rico's silent partners. Leo built a fire. Sal counted the money in stacks on the kitchen table, whistling. Rico sat on the porch with a fresh branches and a bottle of rye, staring at the dark water. The photograph of Elias was his in pocket. He took it out, traced the fox head doodle on the back, same as the one he would drawn on his own notebook since he was a kid. Blood really did call to the blood. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered anyway, a woman's voice, smoky and amused. Mr. Malone, or should I say, the new fox. Rico sat up straightener. Who is this? Follow for part 2. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like and share for more videos.